Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. It is just past the hour, and people are starting to come in. I can see some of the attendees starting to join. So I'm just going to pause for a moment just to let some others join. So we'll kick off here in a minute or so. Okay, so it looks like a few more have joined us, so it is time to get started. So let's get started. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great week. We're going to talk about creating your 2023 strategic plan and measures and deploying that plan throughout your organization here. So I'm Randy Clark. I'm the VP of Sales at KPI Fire. The agenda today. So what we'll do is we'll do a little introduction, a little bit about me, a little bit about the company. We'll talk about the strategic planning process. We're going to try a poll question. We've never done this before, so I hope we pull it off. But we've got a question. I want to get some of your response about your biggest challenges to the planning process. We'll talk about the language of strategic plans. We'll look at cascading those goals throughout the organization, soliciting ideas and for project work or initiatives that would meet and drive those objectives. And then we'll look at performance reviews and outcomes and how to react to certain metrics, measures, etc. And a balanced scorecard as well. Now, as well as we go through the Q&A, we definitely at the end, have time to do Q&A, but in the little webinar item, there should be a questions box or a chat box where you can enter a question. So at any time during the presentation you feel like, hey, I've got a question, I'd like to throw it in that question box or the chat. Either way, I have it on a second screen, so I'll see it if it pops up, and I'll pause and try to address those questions as we go. Okay. So with that, let's get started. Introduction, right? Who am I? Well, I'm the VP of Sales here, but my background is in continuous improvement. I led the Baldrige-based quality initiative at Whirlpool Corporation. I'm a 3-year Baldrige examiner. I've been heavily involved in that process. In fact, was a part of the assessment team of an actual winner of a Baldrige Award. That was back in a few years ago now. I left Whirlpool to go to Pitney Bowes to start a Six Sigma continuous improvement effort at Pitney Bowes. And now I'm with KPI Fire. I'm working with folks like yourself. So that is my personal background introduction there. Little introduction on the company. And this is our general overview slide. It sort of gives you a good sense of what KPI Fire is all about before we go into the strategy planning, etc. And it really has these 4 elements, right? So it starts up here in the top where we define what are we trying to achieve and communicate, cascade those goals throughout the organization so that everybody's sort of clear on what we're trying to achieve. Now, each of those may have certain metrics associated with it. How do you measure it? Are we trending on it? So we want to record and review that performance, or be able to record it and say, here's how we're trending, etc. on each of those goals. Down here on the bottom of is the project work where we can capture ideas, prioritize those ideas, and then execute those projects and initiatives using sort of project management tools built into the system. And then finally, in the middle there, the last piece of this are these reports and outputs. That's basically tracking your performance, or visualizing it, being able to hold huddle boards that facilitate meetings and reviews to be able to take action in terms of your performance, right? If you're off track, what are we doing about it? That kind of thing. So that's just a general overview of KPI Fire. I think some of you are customers currently, some of you not. So it's sort of a nice overview of what we do as an organization. Now, the first thing on our agenda, right? The typical strategic planning process here. Right? 7 steps. Now, there could be more, could be less. This is just a one view in terms of building a strategy and deploying it. Right? And it starts up there with step 1 with this environmental scan, right? What do we do? We do a SWOT analysis, setting our strategic direction from that. Now, KPI Fire really sort of kicks in at step 4 and below. Right? When we talk about developing your strategy and your element and doing these environmental and SWOT analysis, and that's all really beyond where KPI Fire can help and beyond what we do as an organization. But once you've set that direction, once you've done that analysis, then when we're looking at developing those goals and objectives and in a place to communicate those to the organization, then defining those metrics, setting the timelines, tracking progress to that target, publishing the strategic plan, making it visible to folks who have access to it, plan implementation and future for the future. Okay, so that's just a general overview and where I think we're going to focus today in terms of what KPI Fire does and can help you with in the planning process. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try a poll. And we've never done this before, so let's hope it works. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch this poll, and hopefully what you will see are some poll questions. And the poll question is, what's your biggest challenge when developing your strategic plan? And we've got a number of sort of challenges that we think we could sort of bucket into, and go ahead and pick what you think is the biggest one, right? Is it, that we're not communicating our plans, the initiatives aren't aligned with it, inability for top level goals to be pushed down, a lack of accountability, right? Nobody's held accountable to those metrics or goals, inability to react to missed targets or negative trends, right? So I see votes are coming in as we speak. That's great. Perfect. All right. So I guess that's 77% have voted. Give you another second if anybody else wants to participate. There we go. There's another in. One more second, and we'll go ahead and close it out. All right. All right, so let's close the poll. So now, if I understand how this works, I should be able to share that poll with you. And if you're not seeing it, please, post something in the chat box or etc. But you can see pretty clearly, 45% lack of accountability for goals and KPIs is the leading indicator that you've told me, right? That is definitely one that we'll focus on today. Probably number 2, tied. Goals aren't clearly understood because nobody knows where the direction, right? So we want to make those visible to the organization. We'll show you how that works. Tied with that was the inability to cascade those throughout the organization. We'll talk about that, how KPI Fire uses department structures, divisions, locations, business units, etc., to push goals down and roll the performance up to the top. Okay, so that's the poll. Excellent. Thanks for your input. It was great info there. I'm going to go ahead and hide that poll. So let's go into sort of the next version of that, right? And I want to talk a little bit about this language of strategic planning. And we talk about these as these are some of the key elements and verbiage I think used, and what KPI Fire really draws its sort of structure in terms of what the tool does and works with you. So it starts up there with your vision and mission. So what is that? Be able to, everybody knows and understands what that mission, that vision, that aspirational type goal. Goals and objectives. So when we set goals and objectives, these are targets. They can be either long-term, high level, at the highest level of the companies, or they can be short-term, annual, at the business unit or lower level departments, right? And be able to push those goals with defining what it is we're trying to do. Metrics and KPIs obviously is the measurement. So how do you measure it? Is it hitting our targets? Is it getting it where we want to go? Ideas, right? We have an idea portal on KPI Fire. We want to collect ideas around these goals and metrics. People look and say, well, hey, I've got what if we did this, right? And it could be, any type of an improvement idea or a change in a system or a product idea, et cetera. We want to collect those and be able to prioritize and deal with those as actions. And then finally, that projects, right? So for us, we create a project. That is an initiative designed to achieve a metric or a goal. And so that is the language that we'll see in KPI Fire. Okay. So let's just jump in here to KPI Fire. And this is Acme Corporation, a fictitious company. So right off the bat, right, we've got our mission and sort of the vision statement here is to amaze and inspire our customers. And I want to look now at some of the key functions, right? So if we look at these icons, right, they're mimicked up here at the top. Right, when we have goals, so we want to go in and look at our goals. We have different ways of viewing those goals, either a grid view, a tile view, etc. We have our idea funnel where we can submit ideas, prioritize. The project listing, show me our projects, where are we? And then where are our metrics, be able to view what those metrics are happening. Right? Well, we're going to go in and start this journey sort of at the high level view. So you've gone through this planning process, step 1, 2, 3, right? You've gone through the SWOT analysis, and now you've developed those goals, those objectives. So we want to go in and create one, right? So real simple, we're starting with these long-term goals and objectives, right? And what we do is you just go in here and add, right? I would go in and say, I want to add a new goal into the system. You add in that goal, you give it a name, define it, etc. Right? What department does it belong? Is this the highest level or lower level? Right? And Acme is made up of these divisions and plants and locations. Right? But when I go back here, let's take a look at this high level view of our strategy here. At first glance, sort of crowded. So what I'm going to do is I filter down to the first column here. It's a good way to sort of understand this high-level strategy process. So our long-term goals: profitability, customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, process capabilities. Like a balanced scorecard, basically. Right? From there, right, I go in that plus sign. I say I want to add a goal to this, which is my annual objectives, and I've already added those. So what does it mean for us to be profitable this year? It means that EBITDA's got to hit $6 million. We're going to grow organic revenue 7.9 from new products, 1.2 million. We want to reduce costs. Typically where a lot of places in a quality, continuous improvement, operational excellence program comes in around this kind of cost reduction goal. Net promoter score needs to be at, we're going to take net promoter, we're going to measure it. We think we should hit 80, which would be world class. Okay. So those are our metrics, right? Or our annual objectives. Right? I take that little plus sign there and I say, well, how do we measure it? Right? So we're building out this tree of KPI Fire language, right? And I show the metrics. Okay? So here are my metrics. Obviously, we're going to be measuring EBITDA. EBITDA is the metric. We should be at the target $6 million. We're at 6.2 or 6.1 or so. We're over it, so we're green. It's good. Performing well. Savings, $1 million target. We want to hit $1 million. We're at 410. Pitiful. Bad. right? We're way off track in terms of that, right? And then finally around this area are the initiatives or projects that we're working on, right? So one of the key things, right, and I think it was your second, tied for second, communicating goals and making sure that they're understood. So anyone who has access across organization to KPI Fire can come in and look at the organization and see where are we, how are we doing, what is the direction and the purpose of this organization. Right? A little bit different way of viewing this. Right? If I take my goal view and I look at this bowling view, the bowling view is this is organized a little bit differently, and I'm going to focus on this top. So this is the Acme level. This is the corporate level. Again, it's following that department structure, right? And then it has business units and then plants underneath it, right? And this is the highest level objectives. So if I open that shareholder satisfaction up, we can see these are all at the Acme level, but this one has a little plus sign because we've pushed that down to the industrial group and the consumer group, the two business units. So if we're going to make, $1 million in savings, how much is they owe $750, and the consumer group owes $250 of that. Different size business units, different targets. And then when we want to push that goal down even further into the plants and locations. So the plants in Detroit and Salt Lake City, 300 and 450. Right? What this allows us to do is you set targets. You were able to then push those targets down into the organization, and with that, be able to increase the accountability to that target, to that element. Because if all we're doing is this highest level, reduce costs across the entire group, well, it's hard to hold a certain area or a department or a business unit to the total, right? So we've got to cascade that target and that goal to those levels so that we can hold them accountable to those metrics and outputs. Okay. Now, how do we do that, right? We look at, we've set this target, we've deployed it out into the organization. Now we want to look and see, well, how are we doing? How are we performing, right? So I'm going to go up to this little icon up here at the top, which we call our waffle icon. This is my reports and huddle boards that we keep here. All right? And I can pull down and say, well, I want to see this executive overview, my executive review huddle board. And a huddle board, think of these as, you're going to do a monthly review. You get together, you're going to review performance, how are we doing, where are we, etc. Sorry about that. And this is one I built, which is sort of reflecting of some of those key organizational goals. That EBITDA is $6 million, there's our snapshot view, there's our trend view over time. On-time delivery, well, we doing 96%, how's the trend? Revenue, not so good, trending negative. Right? If I wanted to drill into any of these, you can click on it and see the details on that metric. Right? So, just a second, hold on a second. Yeah, there we go. So this is a monthly metric. We can see the trend line. I can display that or pull it out. Now, what we've done is set different tolerances in terms of what the zone, the red zone, the yellow, and the green zone would be. And that controls what this indicator is going to be. So if we're way off that target, it's going to be red, yellow, or green based on the tolerances that we set for the metric. Again, this allows us to react and see, hey, we're in the red zone, we're doing poorly, what should we do about it? Other views around this, deploying this view. So this is one view of my huddle board on the executive review. I've got a second one here as well, 1 and 1B, and it's looking basically at the same information. I just wanted to show you a little bit of different configuration elements. Here we're looking at those 4 key annual objectives, those long-term balanced scorecard buckets. EBITDA, revenue, sales. We filtered this and made it small enough so that you don't see the gauge, you just see the color coding of whether or not you're on track or not. And then we can see our performance to the projects underneath here. Okay. In terms of the metrics, so these are major metrics and the trending around those. Okay. Now, accountability-wise, let's look at one like this cost reduction plan. So we go to this cost reduction plan, right? So when we look at savings at $1 million at the highest level up here, we're 41% target to target, well off the target. Then we break that out. This metric is made up of and rolled up from the information from the industrial group and the consumer. It rolls up. Likewise, the industrial group, the Detroit and Salt Lake City, rolls up to the industrial group. Now, when we're looking at this performance, we're at 41%, where's our problem, right? And this is like problem solving 101, which is, can I localize the problem? I've got a problem. I'm 41% of our target, on our savings target. Where are we doing poorly? Where are we doing well? Right? And we've got a little visual of that here, where this group is really doing well, ahead of target, and these guys are way behind. When we talk about accountability, now we know, hey, why not? What's going on? Right. So one of the key elements on that, right, is maybe they don't have enough new ideas to pursue. And that's why we're not getting the savings that we're looking to track. Right? Well, one of the things that we can do here is if I say, let's take that, let's go back to the highest level view. I think this is probably the best way. And take that goal of this cost reduction goal, and let's open that up. Right, so this is this cost reduction goal, little definition on that goal. What I'm going to do is we're going to solicit ideas around this. So this row there, it says enable external idea form. So what I can do is I click that, and what it does, it creates that little link, URL, and I can mail that to everybody in that business unit, which is short on their projects, they're failing in their target, searching for, hey, we're looking to reduce costs. You've got any ideas? Right? These people don't need to be, have logins or anything. They can submit ideas to KPI Fire, right? Not only, if you're be able to collect and analyze those, but sort of go out and get them, sort of push people into submitting ideas, right? So another great way of looking at that. Okay, let's look at one other element, and that would be we looked at the cascading of those goals. Let me see. Let's pull this up here, and let's do something like this Memphis audit. What this huddle board is designed to do, and let me go back and let's go into last month's data. This is showing us that in this plant, we posted a photo, we do a audit, and this audit is part of our quality, operational excellence goals that we do these audits every day. And when we review those audits, we can pull up a board like this, and we can say, well, what are the action plans that fall out of this? So over here on the right, where it says action plans, you can see that there's a re-input guideline parameters. That's something that we're working on. And if I have another issue, go find out what is wrong, right? And want to add that task. So from that action, reviewing performance, how we're not hitting our target, let's give that to Jeff. Next time we meet, we come in. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Where are you on that action item? Yep, I'm working on it, or I've completed it. Right, Randy, have you completed it? Yeah, I've completed it as well. Right, so hold people accountable to those actions and items. Okay. So let me pause here. I want to make sure that you guys have a chance to either ask a question or drop it in that question item. Anything that I can address here at the end of this call. Okay, I don't see anything coming in. So let's finish up with one last view, and that would be the scorecard or balanced scorecard in terms of the performance around our strategy. What we've done here is we're seeing our 4 strategic pillars, if you will, those high, long-term goals. And when we look at this scorecard, it defines for us sort of an organizational score, right? An 84 out of 100 in this case. And when you think about that, when you're going to school, if you get an 84, that's sort of a B, right? It's not in the A area. And what this allows me to do in creating that score is that not all of these goals are equally important. So you see those weights, when I pop in there, I can take all of those different goals, I can put a weighting system on it, which is going to score the performance of that weight. Now, where's the score from shareholder? It comes from those metrics that are associated with that goal. Each of those has weights. Okay? So if I open up those weights, right, there might be certain, what's going on there? It's not showing. There it is. There's the performance weights, right? EBITDA is much higher than say revenue from new products. Okay? And as your performance comes in for the month, you score it, and it provides a number. So let's just go into this one right here, and let's just say, November had not come in yet, right? So let's delete. Yep, delete November. Right? So when I delete and I say, well, hey, where did that come in? That comes in at 88% this year in terms of yield. And this month, oh, I'm sorry. You definitely don't, you want to put a percent there so it'll put it. And it knows automatically that given that score, it's going to give you a BSC score of 99. Right? Hit save, I can exit, and that will update my total balanced scorecard score. Right? Let me make sure I refresh that screen. Yes. So that's I think what we were going to talk about today. Let's see. Go to my agenda. That we looked at performance reviews and those cascading goals throughout the organization. No Q&A, so folks, if you need any more information, there's my contact information. We'll make the video recording available to everybody, and wish everybody a great holiday season, and enjoyed having you. Thanks.